Few actors have ever left as big a mark on cinema as Marlon Brando. He was unpredictable, magnetic, and often controversial, an actor who reshaped what it meant to perform on screen. And among those who knew him, admired him, and even learned from him, one name stands out: Al Pacino, now at 84. Pacino has finally opened up about the truth of his relationship with Brando, their time together on The Godfather, and the profound impact Brando had on his life and career. The meeting of two legends. When The Godfather began production in the early 1970s, Al Pacino was still a relative newcomer. Brando, by contrast, was already a legend, a man whose performances in A Streetcar Named Desire and On the Waterfront had changed Hollywood forever. Pacino admits he was intimidated at first. Walking onto a set where Brando would play Vito Corleone felt like stepping into history. But what he found surprised him. Instead of arrogance, Brando welcomed him with warmth and curiosity. Pacino recalls that Brando treated him not as a rookie but as an equal, encouraging him to fully embody the role of Michael Corleone. Brando's unpredictable genius. Pacino often describes Brando as a force of nature. On set, nobody ever knew what Brando would do next. Sometimes he whispered lines, other times he changed them altogether. Yet, instead of breaking the scene, these choices elevated it. Pacino later admitted that he studied Brando closely. Not just the words but his silences, his gestures, even the way he used pauses to draw attention. Brando's unique approach taught Pacino that great acting wasn't about rigidly following the script. It was about living inside the character. The Oscars controversy. One of the most talked about moments in Brando's career came in 1973 when he refused the Academy Award for The Godfather. Instead of attending, he sent Sachin Littlefeather, a Native American activist, to decline the Oscar on his behalf, protesting Hollywood's treatment of Native Americans. Pacino has since admitted that, at the time, he was stunned. He didn't fully grasp why Brando would turn down such a prestigious honor. But as he grew older, Pacino realized that Brando was making a powerful statement, using his fame not just for himself, but to give voice to others. To Pacino, this act defined Brando: fearless, defiant, and unwilling to compromise his values. A complicated friendship off screen, Brando was just as enigmatic. Pacino remembers times when Brando could be charming and hilarious, telling wild stories and making everyone laugh. But there were also moments when Brando withdrew, preferring solitude over the spotlight. Pacino has said that he came to understand Brando's inner conflict. Fame had brought him incredible success, but it also became a burden. Brando often criticized Hollywood for being shallow and profit-driven, a place that cared more about money than artistry. Pacino admits he admired Brando's courage to speak out even when it made him unpopular in the industry. Brando's lasting influence even today. Pacino credits Brando with shaping his career. He calls him a mentor without trying to be one. Simply by being around Brando, Pacino absorbed lessons about risk, creativity, and authenticity. When asked recently about Brando's legacy, Pacino became emotional. He admitted that he still feels Brando's presence in his work, even decades after his passing.
He was more than an actor, Pacino said. He was a revolution.
The truth at 84 now, at 84 years old, Pacino finally admits the truth. Marlon Brando was not just a co-star. He was a guiding force, a mirror, and an inspiration. Pacino acknowledges that without Brando's influence, his own career might have taken a very different path. Despite Brando's flaws, his mood swings, his rebellion against Hollywood, his controversial choices, Pacino insists that Brando was the most extraordinary actor he ever worked with. He believes Brando's courage to be different is what gave future generations of actors the freedom to experiment, to challenge expectations, and to pursue truth over glamour. Closing thoughts: the bond between Al Pacino and Marlon Brando was more than just a collaboration. It was the meeting of two artists who defined an era. For Pacino, speaking about Brando now is both a tribute and a confession. He admits that while he once stood in awe of Brando, today he stands in gratitude. As Pacino put it best, Marlon was the real Godfather, not just in the film, but in the way he changed all of us.